It's pretty amazing when you think about it, the way we can move. We can throw a ball, swim, or dance with this incredible freedom. So how do we do it? Let's dive into the amazing machine that is the human body and uncover the secret behind our most dynamic movements. Yeah, it's a fantastic question, right? I mean, our skeleton gives us our structure, sure, but it's made of over 200 hard, rigid bones. So how on earth does that framework become capable of such fluid, powerful motion? Well, the answer isn't in the bones themselves, but in the clever connections between them. And that meeting place, that's what we call a joint. It's really that simple. A joint is just where bones come together. And they are the absolute key, the thing that unlocks our ability to move. Seriously, without them, we'd be as stiff as a statue. Okay, so not all joints are created equal. Not by a long shot. You've got your fibrous joints, like the ones in your skull. They don't move at all. Then you have cartilaginous joints, think of your spine, which have a little bit of give. But then you have the synovial joints. And these guys, they are the absolute superstars of movement. And even in that all-star group of freely moving synovial joints, there's one specific design that stands head and shoulders above the rest. I mean, it allows for the greatest range of motion possible in the entire human body. It's the undisputed champion.
That champion is the ball and socket joint. It's just an elegant, simple, and incredibly effective piece of natural engineering.
So where can you find them? Well, you've got two main pairs of these incredible joints. First, your shoulder, right where the top of your arm bone meets your shoulder blade, and second, your hip, where your thigh bone connects to your pelvis. Just think about it for a second. Everything you do with your arms and legs, that's the ball and socket joint hard at work. The name pretty much gives it away, doesn't it? It's a type of synovial joint where you've got this rounded, ball-shaped head of one bone, and it fits perfectly into a cup-like dent or socket in another bone. That simple setup is the whole secret to its amazing versatility. And this is exactly why people call it the champion of all joints. I mean, no other joint type can even come close to its range and freedom of movement. It is truly in a class of its own. So how does it all work so smoothly? Well, it's not just the bones. It's the whole supporting cast. The ends of the bones are covered with the super smooth articular cartilage, which acts like a built-in shock absorber. Then the whole thing is wrapped up in a capsule that's filled with synovial fluid. Think of it like a natural lubricant, like grease on a hinge or oil in an engine. It keeps everything moving without friction. You can actually feel this for yourself. Come on, try it with me. Make a fist with one hand. That's your ball. Now cup your other hand around it. That's your socket. Now just move your fist around inside that cup. See that? Feel how it can twist and turn and move in pretty much any direction? That's the basic principle, right there in your own hands. This structure is what lets it move on multiple axes. That's the fancy term, multi-axial. Basically, you can move your arm or leg forward and backward. That's called flexion and extension. You can move it out to the side and then back in. That's abduction and adduction. And of course, you can rotate it. It's the combination of all of these moves that lets you, say, swing your arm in a big full circle. But, and there's always a but, isn't there? This incredible, almost limitless mobility. It doesn't come for free. There's a fundamental trade-off. And that trade-off is mobility versus stability. The perfect way to see this is to compare your shoulder and your hip. The shoulder socket is really shallow. Now that allows for that huge range of motion, but it also makes it less stable, which is why dislocated shoulders are, a relatively common injury. Your hip, on the other hand, has a really deep socket. This gives it incredible stability. It has to, for walking and holding up our weight. But it limits the overall range of motion when you compare it to the shoulder. So, given that trade-off, and just the sheer amount of work these joints do day in and day out, what happens when things go wrong? What are some of the common issues that can sideline our body's superstar joints? Okay, before we get into that, a really quick but important disclaimer. What we're about to talk about is for educational purposes only. If you have any pain or health concerns, please consult a qualified healthcare professional. This is not medical advice. All right, so understanding these weak spots is really key. Dislocation is a big one, especially for that super mobile shoulder. Then you have things like osteoarthritis, which is basically the wear and tear of that protective cartilage over time. You can also have soft tissue injuries, like rotator cuff tears. That's damage to the muscles that help stabilize everything. And labral tears, which is damage to that little cartilage ring that lines the socket. The good news is we can definitely take steps to care for these joints. Regular, gentle exercise is so important for reducing stiffness. If problems do pop up, physical therapy can be fantastic for strengthening all those muscles that support and stabilize the joint. And for those painful flare-ups, simple things like rest and ice can often do wonders to help manage the symptoms. Okay, wow, we have covered a lot of ground. So let's just boil it all down. What are the 5 most important things you need to remember about this champion of motion? Okay, number 1, at its heart, it's a synovial joint with that key ball in a cup design. 2, you'll find them in your shoulders and your hips. 3, it is the most mobile joint in your body, period. It lets you move in every direction. 4, remember that trade-off. All that mobility comes at the cost of some stability. And finally, number 5, it doesn't work alone. It relies on a whole support crew of cartilage, fluid, muscles, and ligaments to do its job. So when you think about it, from a simple wave hello to climbing a mountain, the ball and socket joint is what gives us the freedom to truly interact with our world. It's an incredible piece of our anatomy that we use every single day, probably without even thinking about it. So the only question left is, how will you use yours?